So you say your toilet won't stop running. Alright, let's take a look at it. Yep, just as I thought. Let's get to it. First things first, come to the back of the toilet, turn off the water supply. Now that you got your water off, let's get you familiarized with some of the key components that's on the inside of the toilet. So, first things first, this is your handle. This basically is attached to this chain that's connected to your flapper. This flapper right here, whenever the handle is flush, it pulls the chain up, flushing the toilet basically. It's connected to the flush valve. This is the piece that's on the toilet that I hate the most, because if it gets a crack into it, you're gonna have a bad day. Yep. Whenever we encounter one of those situations where this has a crack in it, I'm gonna show you how to replace this. But we are here today to talk about how to get this toilet to stop running. This component is called the flush valve. The fill valve, I'm sorry. The fill valve basically is connected to the water supply that we just turned off recently. And what you want to do in that situation of finding out if it's the flapper or the fill valve, you want to make sure that you undo the flapper from the handle. You want to take the flapper off. You have to be careful, because if you're not careful, you will crack this flush valve right here. And again, that is a nightmare. What'll tend to usually happen, these flappers, because they're like rubber, they sit in this water for so long that they start to swell. Once they swell, instead of it sitting flat, it'll curve. And once it curves at the top, it's letting water inside of this flush valve. And once it's losing water, the fill valve will go from floating to dropping. And once this ball valve right here drops, it's gonna call for more water. And that is gonna run up your water bill, basically. So make sure that you check. This one right here isn't damaged, but I'm still gonna replace it, because I'm gonna replace the fill valve. The fill valve is your issue if this one isn't, if the flapper isn't bent up like that. It becomes your issue because most places are known to have hard water. So when that water supply comes from out of the wall, a lot of calcium and buildup is at the bottom of this fill valve. And once it gets clogged, it starts to like let out water like really slow. It's almost like the water supply is basically clogged. Now once you release the flapper from the flush valve, you want to take your shop vac or wet vac, or for those who don't have it, I'll show you what to do next. Take your shop vac and you take all the rest of the water that's out, that's under the flush valve. Shop vacuuming all that water out of the tank is because once you release the water supply line, the water, and you lift the fill valve, water's going to come rushing down onto the floor from that hole, and you don't want that. So for the people who don't have shop vacs, this is what you can do. Now forgive my stuff being inside of that bucket. I just want you to imagine that it's empty. I ain't feel like emptying it and then putting the stuff back in there. You could take you a bucket of some sort that will fit under that supply line. Be careful dealing with that supply line, because that PVC pipe is very brittle. So make sure that you tuck it under, aligning with the fill valve. That way, once you pull the fill valve out, the water will drop inside the bucket and not on the floor.
Hey there, how you doing? Oh, me? Oh, nothing. Just farting around on the shitter. That was a terrible joke. So next, what you want to do is you want to take you a pair of pliers or some sort of channel locks or something like that. You want to take the supply line off of the fill valve. Be careful, you might have a little bit of of that residual water that was on the inside of the line, but that's okay. You got your rag. That's gonna cost you less to clean up than what the water company is gonna charge you for that toilet that's continuing to run. Then it also has a nut that's actually keeping it tight and holding down the fill valve. You take your channel locks and you do the same thing.
And now that you have that nut loose and the water supply line disconnected, the next thing you're ready to do is take out the fill valve. Be careful whenever you're taking the fill valve out. This supply line right here is actually attached to the top of this flush valve, so make sure that you pinch it like so and pull it out. Pull it out, set it to the side. Then you can go ahead and unbox your new fill valve. I'm trying to see if I can get it in the camera or whatnot. These fill valves, they're not expensive at all. Once again, you can find it at Home Depot or Lowe's. As you can see, I'm always in Home Depot or Lowe's, or we getting it from our supply company. Shout out to Chadwell Supply. So, they're gonna come out of the box, basically like this right here. So what you wanna do, you unscrew that nut off of it. You want to take this and your seal. Those first two attachments, you want to take those off. Take that off, set it to the side. Make sure that that gasket is pushed all the way up. Then what you want to do is you place it down inside of the hole. Once you place it inside of the hole, there is a nozzle that is sticking out right here at the front. Right here. You want to make sure that that is pointing directly towards the flush valve, because if you don't, then you may have to release it and start over, because the holes that you're going to connect to this is going to be kinked up and you won't get a straight flow out of your supply line. So after you put it in the hole and your nozzle is facing towards that flush valve, you're going to tighten it up at the bottom. See you at the bottom. All right, we're here at the bottom again. So those nuts that you put towards the side,
Dirty minds.
that nut you put to the side,
You want to take it for this piece that's sticking out right there. That is the bottom part of your fill valve. You want to take it and you want to screw it on. Nice and tight. And remember, y'all may be going to the gym and you think that your hands is strong, but I can promise you they're not as strong as you think they are. So once you get it on tight with your hand, come behind it with your tool. Come behind it with your pliers and tighten it up some more. Not too tight. Your ancestors will let you know when you need to stop. I'm just kidding. But you don't want to go too tight because this is porcelain and it will crack easily. Trust me. When you take your supply line, hook that sucker right back on up. And with that supply line and your tool, one good turn. One. That should be enough right there. Now, you go back up to the top to get ready for the supply line attached to the fill valve.
once you tighten up the nut and you got your supply line hooked back up to your fill valve, you want to look back inside your box for your supply line that's going to attach to the fill valve. So that nozzle that I told you that you needed to make sure that was pointing towards the flush valve, you want to take the end with no attachment and you want to plug it in to that nozzle all the way to the back, nice and tight. Then you take your attachment. Now this is dealer's choice to me. Some of these, they come with an attachment. You can take this blue attachment right here and you can just hang it on the side like so and clip it down. But because I have this nice seal that's already on, I'm gonna take this one out and I'm gonna push this down this hole right here so it can hold on to that. If it wanna go inside the hole, she's a little bit too big. Might have to go and get some KY. I'm just playing. Lord Jesus, I need to keep this PG. Get on in there, girl. Alright. Yeah. Now you push her all the way through. That way you make sure that that line isn't kinked up at the bottom. And then just pull her out just a tad. That way your line isn't kinked up and you're getting your full flow of water coming out of your supply line. Then what you want to do, you want to get your new flapper. The reason why I'm putting on a new flapper because I am a maintenance tech that goes above and beyond. So I'm going to be replacing the flapper and the handle. And I will show you how to do that as well. Now that you got your new flapper, what you want to do is you want to take that sucker, place it down up in the hole, snap her on to the side of the flush valve, and just set the chain to the side for right now because we're about to get ready to take out this handle. Let's take the handle out with your pliers. Keep shaking the camera. Loosen up this nut that's on top, on the back of it. The reason why I'm changing the handle is because we have a big issue at this community with this plastic, and you know, after a couple of years, that plastic will become brittle, and when people go to flush, that happens. So we are going from from plastic to metal. Another issue that we have, they have these handles that bend on the inside of the tank in case that they don't fit and stuff like that, but they're too large. So what I've been having to do is jerry rig these handles myself. And what I mean by that is I have to bend them just a tad bit, because if you don't, whenever you stick it through, basically this part of the handle will rub up against the tank, and when it rubs up against the tank, the handle will have the chain pulled up, and it's going to continuously let the water run out, and your problem will not be fixed. So now let's get this handle tightened. Tighten that down with your pliers, just a tad, like so. Now with your chain, you are going to have to use your measuring skills. So if you see basically that handle that you just placed, this is only for people who want to replace the handle. If you see that the handle is hanging to right here, you want to measure with your chain links exactly where it is when it's closed. Right there. So now you make your point, take your hook, and re-hook it through that sucker, like so. So now you're making it even. Take your hook and put it through that very last hole. Once you got that, set her on. Let's play with the handle and see what we got. Alrighty, she's talking.
Thank you for fixing me.
After all of that has been hooked up or whatnot, what I would like to do first, because people will see this tank and think that it's very disgusting, and again, I am one of those techs who like to go above and beyond. So what I try to do, I spray down my toilet with a little bit of this mildew cleaner. Don't worry, we're not drinking the water, so it's 100% safe. And I know what some of you are thinking. Dang, you ain't even wiped none of that down and I see it already working. What you using? I am using my fancy dancy mold and mildew stain remover. Brought to you by the creators of CLR. I mean, you ain't necessarily got to use this one, you know what I'm saying? You can use Tilex, anything that kills like mildew or stuff like that, you know? Spray that on. Take your rag, wipe it down. Nice and beautiful. Now, once you got it all wiped down and everything, you cut back on your water supply line. So what's actually happening, that water that's coming from out of the wall is going up through this fill valve right here and is coming throughout of this water supply line, flowing into the flush valve basically and filling up the tank as well as the bowl. But for you people who have hard dookies and need more water inside of the bowl rather than the tank, you can take your flat head screwdriver or your Phillips head screwdriver or maybe just even your hand and you twist this mechanism like this. I believe, I could be wrong. Okay, so when you're going counterclockwise, that drops this ball cock right here. And when it drops and it gets too low, basically what's happening is this is going to call for more water. So if you want more water inside of your bowl, you basically want to twist it counterclockwise. If you want more water inside of the tank, you're going to turn it clockwise. It's going to raise the ball cock, basically. Once this drops, it calls for more water, like this. Hear that? Once it gets back up above the water level, it stops. It should be an indication on the flush valve letting you know where the water line is supposed to be. That way it doesn't flow into the flush valve, because if it starts overflowing in there, the toilet's still going to run. So as you can see, you don't hear the toilet running anymore. So primarily your issue is fixed. I just want to see how it feels when I flush. Oh, beautiful. Flapper falls down in place like it's supposed to, properly sealed. You ain't got to do none of the jingling of the handle like you used to have to do at grandma's house. This is beautiful. Now for you people who love to put those big old gel tabs inside of your tank because it makes the tank smell nice and purty and get your water nice and blue and pink and lavender. Yeah, no homo. I advise for you to only use liquids. Never use gel tabs, because that gel, it can break off and get inside of that fill valve and you're gonna have to replace it again. Some people didn't know, but now you know. The more you know, the less it's gonna cost you.